The next few Genshin characters aren't just strong. They're being released in a very specific order. And if the current information is even close to accurate, pulling the wrong banner between version 6.4 and 7.0 could quietly set your account back for months. This isn't about one broken unit or a single must-pull character. It looks like HoYoverse is rolling out a full sequence, where each update prepares players for the next one. So in this video, we're going to walk through what's expected from version 6.4 all the way to 7.0, what that means for team building, and why these characters may end up being far more important than they appear on the surface. Quick disclaimer before we continue. Everything discussed here is based on community leaks and speculation. Nothing is final until it's officially announced. Think of this as early planning information, not guaranteed outcomes. With that in mind, everything really starts to make sense once we reach version 6.4. This is where Varka finally enters the playable roster. His arrival feels less like a surprise and more like a deliberate reset of expectations. Varka is expected to be a 5-star Anemo Claymore character designed to stay on the field and deal consistent damage, which already sets him apart from most Anemo units we've seen before. What makes him especially interesting is how his kit is described. Instead of relying mainly on swirl reactions, he appears to reward very specific team setups. Current discussion suggests his damage scales best in double Anemo or mono-element teams, which pushes players toward tighter, more intentional compositions rather than flexible swap teams. That's important, because it means Varka isn't just strong on his own. He's designed to shape the team around him. If you commit to him, you're committing to a playstyle. And once you look ahead, it becomes clear that the next few patches seem built to support that exact idea. Moving forward, version 6.5 looks quieter at first, but it plays a critical role in this sequence. The key character expected here is Lana. She's tied to Nod Cry and the Adventurers Guild and is described as someone focused more on research and exploration than raw combat. Her role doesn't appear to be about dealing damage. Instead, she seems designed to enable teams. Recent discussion connects her to lunar crystallized mechanics, which fits neatly into the idea of structured, reaction-focused team building. Rather than standing out alone, she looks like a character whose value grows when placed in the right setup. That same pattern continues into version 6.6, where attention shifts toward Hexenzirkel-related characters. Nicole stands out immediately. She's expected to be a 5-star pyro catalyst with a support-oriented kit focused on buffs, survivability, and team enhancement rather than personal damage. What makes Nicole particularly interesting is how conditional her value appears to be. Reports suggest she performs extremely well when her team meets certain criteria, but her impact drops sharply outside of those conditions. That kind of design rewards planning and commitment, rather than flexibility. Alongside her is Lowen, another Mondstadt character with strong narrative ties to Varka. Instead of feeling like a random addition, he appears positioned as another piece of the same system, giving players more ways to build around these new team concepts. By this point, the direction becomes hard to ignore. These patches aren't about isolated power spikes. They're about layering mechanics and synergies over time. That layering reaches its peak in version 6.7. This is where Sandrone is expected to become playable, and her arrival changes the conversation completely. She's described as an electro or cryo catalyst built around physical damage and superconduct, a reaction that hasn't been in the spotlight for a very long time. Whenever HoYoverse revisits an older reaction, it's rarely accidental. Making superconduct relevant again suggests a deliberate mechanical shift. Sandrone's kit reportedly revolves around a combat robot or puppet, reinforcing her identity as an engineer and strategist rather than a traditional spellcaster. Her design naturally pulls other characters into relevance. Cryo teammates matter more. Physical resistance shred becomes important again. Older supports suddenly make sense in a new context. And when you look back at the support-focused characters introduced earlier, the sequencing starts to feel intentional rather than random. Adding even more weight to this patch, version 6.7 is also expected to feature Columbina's first rerun. That combination alone makes the patch incredibly difficult to skip, both from a gameplay perspective and a narrative one. Beyond that, everything points toward one final name before Snezhna fully begins: Alice. Her exact release timing is still uncertain, but many expect her to appear during the transition into version 7.0. That placement fits perfectly. Alice isn't just another character. She's a lore powerhouse who treats the rules of Teyvat like suggestions rather than limits. If she becomes playable as a pyro catalyst, as many expect, her kit almost has to break conventions. Not just through raw damage, but by introducing mechanics that reshape how combat or exploration works. Her release would feel like the final confirmation that HoYoverse is moving away from simple character additions and toward interconnected systems. When you step back and look at versions 6.4 through 7.0 together, the structure becomes clear. Varka introduces a new kind of hypercarry. Lana and Nicole stabilize and enable those teams. Sandrone redefines an older reaction. And Alice potentially rewrites the rules entirely. These characters aren't just stronger because of numbers. They're stronger because they're part of a long-term plan. The real question isn't who is strongest. It's which of these characters fits your account without forcing regret later. So I'm curious, are you planning to pull early, or are you already saving for the later payoff patches? Let me know your strategy in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns like this, focused on planning and long-term impact rather than hype, make sure you're subscribed. Because once the 6.4 livestream hits, these decisions are going to feel very real, very fast.